Hello class, my name is Matthew Medvey, and this is our group, the Blue Eagles 9.2 group presentation, Best Practices Manual for Sustainability. Our group members over the duration of this course consisted of Caitlin, Natasha, myself, Matthew, David, and Timian. And before I start, I just want to say that over the duration of this course, I've been really impressed with everyone's contributions, teamwork, punctuality, and understanding. Everyone in our group really contributed to our group project and presentation, which was a really nice breath of fresh air compared to other group work and projects that I've been a part of in the past. And then I guess going forward, for a little background, we conducted this project from the viewpoint of a small to moderately sized charter airline. All right, we'll begin now. So the state of the business for Blue Eagle Charters. Currently, Blue Eagle Charters employs a team of less than 100 people. We fly a fleet of 10 aircraft of different types that support a range of customers' needs globally. During 2021, the Blue Eagle Charters team received an environmental social governance, also known as ESG score of 50. Upon receipt of this score, a determination was made by our leadership to improve our score by 3 points for the next year, so that's our goal. In order to best steer the improvement of our score, a competitive analysis was completed over all airlines being reviewed by S&P Global. From that analysis, we were able to determine that talent attraction, retention, labor practices, climate strategy, efficacy, and fleet management were key indicators for all airlines. So, strategic objectives by category. Yeah, so to expand this a bit more, using the key indicators of industry companies, a number of objectives, initiatives, and key results were formulated to help achieve the ESG score improvement. Environmentally, we're going to invest in sustainable aviation fuel, also known as SAF, use renewable energy, reduce our hazardous waste, become voluntarily CORSIA compliant, reduce hazardous waste, examine aircraft decommissioning procedures, and minimize waste during ground taxiing. Socially, we're going to work on expanding all aspects of diversity within our team, increasing our employee retention, and reducing health and safety risks, especially amid the global pandemic that's happening. Right? Economically, we're working on implementing an EMS system, achieving ISO 14001 certification, becoming carbon neutral by 2025, and investing in SAF. With these elements in mind, we set out to create a best practices manual for our team to meet these objectives and improve our ESG score. And over the course of the following slides, we will summarize the result of our best practices manual related to that. All right, one of our best practices involves SAF, fuel efficiency, alternative fuels, and engine modifications. And kind of before I get into that, as a side note, these next several best practices slides are going to display associated benefit score, effort score, and risk of failure score on the left, with further details in the corresponding process improvement over on the right in detail as well. But going forward, I'll just be summarizing and, follow the same format. But anyway, Blue Eagle Charters is committed to improving our overall environmental footprint, and we've established numerous best practice design initiatives to complement a more positive environmental impact. These initiatives include fueling all fleet aircraft with at least 1% SAF by 2022 and at least 5% by 2025 due to the fuel efficiency and emissions reduction qualities of SAF compared to traditional petroleum refined aviation fuel. Additionally, necessary engine and power modification to support these, use of SAF will be completed. And then further, Blue Eagle Charters is going to begin tracking aircraft fuel composition beginning this year, and we're going to use a small percentage of it on some of our flights. So, Blue Eagle Charters also aims to form relationships with SAF suppliers and establish corresponding contracts supporting full implementation of SAF by 2022. The success of our initiative can be determined quantitatively if our aircraft fleet is fueled with at least 1% by 2022 and 5% by 2025. And then expand on that further, the applicable ISO standards include ISO 14001 Clause 6.1, 6.2, and 8.1. The benefits of doing this are high with relatively low risk, but it's going to take a substantial effort. Okay, so our next best practice involves production of renewable energy at our airport site. To reduce Blue Eagle's environmental footprint, the Sustainability Committee is gearing up an initiative to partner with the on-site airport to invest in renewable energy power source, which will benefit, Blue Eagle charters and reduce its environmental footprint. We would benefit from the partnership of renewable energy investment in lots of ways. For example, it could lead to minimizing of auxiliary power units that will reduce the Blue Eagle's fuel costs, which is volatile. Renewable energy would not only show commitment to Blue Eagle Charter's corporate social responsibility, but will also establish practices that will reduce its environmental footprint. The use of renewable energy could also provide the opportunity for price volatility management and the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. These efforts would also support the compliance to CORSIA, which goes back to complementing the reduction of our overall environmental footprint, right? It's connected. All right, our hazardous waste reduction best practice. So hazardous waste, it's an inevitable byproduct of operating most large machinery today, and their effect on the environment, it's felt throughout the manufacturing operations and decommissioning phase of aircraft, similar to those used by us, right? That being said, we're determined to reduce land, water, and air pollution, as well as diminish the depletion of non-renewable raw material. Material cost savings, potential reduction of work-related illnesses, and subsequent lawsuit claims are valid financial motivation to reduce our operations' hazardous waste, but our greatest motivations by far are the social benefits of reducing workplace injuries and other damages to employee health. We got to take care of them first. We pride ourselves on being good citizens of our community, and we prioritize minimizing dangerous impact on public health by, water and air contamination. Got to keep that down to a minimum. This best practice is centered around the use of a new hazardous chemical dispensation and collection unit that promises to help us manage the use and careful disposal of hazardous waste. All right, so our reduction in parts cleaning solution usage best practice. To kind of summarize this, parts cleaning solutions have historically been one of the most uncontrolled pollutants in technology driver industries like air transport. Our team at Blue Eagle Charters has been looking into better ways to clean without compromising on water and air quality. The environmental impact we chose to pursue by assimilating this best practice will help reduce water wastage. From an economic perspective, decreasing the yearly usage of cleaning solutions will help free up budget for social impact initiatives, while switching to more friendly liquids will reduce exposure that could lead to work-related illness and subsequent lawsuits. By applying this best practice, Blue Eagle Charters will be proud to report that it is doing its part in preventing low water level threats to our community, minimizing the risk of water contamination, and saving on power consumption with this new technology. All right, next we have our aircraft decommissioning best practice. As Blue Eagle Charters evolves and expands over the years, it will need to reconsider how to manage its aging, redundant, or obsolete aircraft. By referring to best practices developed by the International Aviation Transportation Association, also known as IATA, and the Aircraft Fleet and Recycling Association, Blue Eagle can ensure it manages its decommissioning process optimally. Taking into consideration the environment, economic impacts, and social elements, Blue Eagle will be able to manage its decommissioning in a controlled and responsible manner. We can see here that the benefits are high with relatively low effort and risk. So this initiative and best practice can be considered low-hanging fruit and really a no-brainer. Okay, next best practice involves CORSIA compliance. Operationally, our first environmental initiatives to become operationally compliant with the International Civil Aviation Organization, also known as ICAO, program for the Carbon Emission Offsetting and Reduction Scheme for International Aviation, also known as CORSIA. I know I've said that several times, but that's what the acronym stands for. The program's not currently mandatory, but we're going to voluntarily participate starting now. Participating in the program will help Blue Eagle Charters become uniquely familiar with the organization's carbon footprint. After a few years of participation in the program, we'll be able to actively reduce our emissions. One way we plan to do this is through the use of free route airspace. The idea is to move away from traditional point-to-point navigation in favor of straight line with less turns, more efficient, right? This will help to reduce the fuel used by aircraft and the weight of the aircraft. thus also, reducing emissions. The use of free route airspace is already used throughout North America and Europe, and this best practice has a solid benefit for a relatively low level of effort and risk of failure, making this a sustainable improvement for Blue Eagle charters. Next, next best practice we have involves ground taxi procedures. So adjusting our taxiing procedures will benefit the company both financially and environmentally. This practice also carries a high benefit score with low effort and risk of failure because we just adjust the standard operating procedure and training our pilots to single engine taxi, when possible, and that'll lower emissions and improve air quality. So that is definitely something we can achieve. All right, next best practice is diversity in hiring. On the social side of the sustainability plan, the first step is to address the diversity of our hiring pool, especially on the flight ops and maintenance side. In order to grow, we'll need to tap into new pools of talent that have been really underutilized at this point. The goal is to meet or exceed the national average of women and minority pilots and maintainers by 2030. Kind of meeting if 7% of pilots are women, we want to have 7 or better among, our ranks. This is going to require little monetary investment in direct hiring practices, but potentially could require some investment in partnerships with schools and other aviation programs. There's also an opportunity to work with non-aviation based schools to provide exposure to aviation jobs that take place elsewhere, not necessarily on the operations side. All right, our next best practice involves retention, which we all know can be challenging, especially in this highly competitive field, right? So in order to sustain any growth, we need to retain our best employees. This will require a high level of effort, both in planning and economic investment. Failing to retain will just maintain status quo of hiring new people to replace attrition. This system keeps the operation moving, but it doesn't allow for growth or provide the groundwork for a strong company culture. Retaining top talent is going to require employees to determine what they're looking for in a career destination and providing for them what we can. Within reason, people are going to stay for a reason. We got to make it worthwhile. Investments in things like safety and technology that make life easier while at work goes a long way towards encouraging employees to continue their career with us. All right. Next is health and safety. This best practice aims to proactively reduce risk by identifying, assessing, and mitigating hazards that could hinder safety to customers and ensure safety and health for all employees while proactively reducing the risk of COVID-19 transmission. Maintaining a safe working environment through specialized programs will contribute to the overall well-being of members of our workforce and society. It'll also help keep the workplace free of emotional stress, physical injuries, and it also promotes healthy practices that reduce the risk of harming the general public. All right, next up, we have our maintaining a current EMS as a best practice. The EMS is designed for continuous improvement and transparency. We believe that in order to improve, we need a system that tracks our progress while allowing room for constructive criticism, which we welcome. This system is crucial to achieving our ESG score aspirations and help Blue Eagle charters generate additional revenue by competitive advantages obtained by the certification. Regulatory compliance is a high priority for our sustainability as a business that relies on a prosperous society, and a prosperous society is built on a healthy environment. This best practice directly supports the team's ability to reduce inequalities for both workforce and customers by improving the environment for all and providing opportunities for excellence and advancement, which is important. Right, next up, we have our Becoming Carbon Neutral best practice. For Blue Eagle's second financial initiative, the company would like to reduce Blue Eagle's current emissions and invest in carbon offsets, as required. This initiative will support Sustainable Development Goal 8, which is decent work and economic growth by inspiring all stakeholders to really take pride in reducing the airline's detrimental impact on the planet and fellow citizens while providing a necessary needed service. The key result for this initiative supports the company's objective of being carbon neutral by 2025. So it's all related. All right, so our final best practice involves investing in SAF. So although this was primarily an environmental best practice, there's also a large financial element and consequently must be included in our economics section as well. So I know we mentioned this, but Blue Eagles would also like to invest in sustainable aviation fuel for all aircraft with, the 1% by 2022. This initiative supports Sustainable Development Goal 1, which is no poverty, by improving economic growth through the increased purchase and procurement of SAF from suppliers. Additionally, this initiative improves fuel efficiency and offers potential to reduce operating costs into the future. The very high benefit versus low effort and risk makes this best practice a no-brainer as well. All right, so these are the references utilized by this presentation. Well, this concludes the Blue Eagles Best Practices Manual for Sustainability presentation. Have a good rest of your week, and good luck to everyone with your next classes. And have a good one, a good weekend.